Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. And this time, we're going to tackle something that might just change how you see those teenage years. You know, the ones everyone calls awkward or challenging.
Oh, yeah.
We're diving into Help Yourself for Teens by Dave Pelzer. And trust me, whether you're a teen yourself, work with them, or are just curious, this book has got some seriously solid advice.
It does. And what really sets this one apart is that Pelzer doesn't just talk the talk. He's walked a pretty tough path.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's someone who overcame abuse and tons of adversity.
Right.
And that experience is like woven into all of his advice, which
Yeah.
I think makes it so much more relatable
Well, for
to
sure.
teens who often feel like no one gets them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've established he's got the street cred, so to speak.
Yeah.
But what's the big takeaway for teens?
Boom.
What's that core message?
It's all about taking control, taking the reins of your own life, even when it feels like everything's spinning out of control.
Okay.
Peltzer's is really big on personal accountability.
Okay.
And you might think it's easy for him to say. Yeah. But he lays out exactly how he used this mindset to escape a truly horrific situation.
That's got to be empowering. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially for teens who feel stuck in their circumstances.
It is. It's about shifting that focus to what you can control,
Okay.
like setting small goals that help build confidence. Imagine a teen who's struggling in school instead of getting overwhelmed by the whole picture.
Right.
They can focus on just improving in one subject,
Yeah.
maybe just one assignment at a time.
Right.
And that tiny win,
Yeah.
that can snowball into bigger changes.
I love that. All right, so we're taking charge, but then comes the monster under the bed of every teenager's life. Peer pressure.
Oh, yeah.
How does Pelzer handle that?
He doesn't sugarcoat it.
Okay.
He knows that need to belong is huge,
Mm-hmm.
but he frames it in this really interesting way.
Okay.
It's about surrounding yourself with people who are kind of on the same journey of growth, people who lift you up, not drag you down.
Yeah.
This whole idea of building a tribe that supports your values.
Yeah. That's super resonant for teens. So it's not just about saying no to bad influences.
No.
It's about actively seeking out the good ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Peltzer's own story shows how he resisted those negative influences. Even when he was desperate to fit in.
Right.
He found mentors and friends who helped him stay on track.
Yeah.
And he shows teens that it is possible to be yourself,
Yeah.
even if it means being different.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that leads perfectly into the next point. Peltzer's not just about bouncing back.
Right.
He's about growing because of the hard stuff.
Yeah, for resilience.
Yeah.
But on a whole other level, he reframes challenges as opportunities. Think about it. If you only had easy wins, how would you ever learn to deal with real life?
Right.
Pelzer teaches teens to focus on those small wins, lean on their support system, and keep going, even when it's tough.
So you're telling me struggles aren't a sign of failure?
No.
They're like gym workouts for your mind.
Perfect analogy.
I love it.
And speaking of workouts, Pelzer's got a whole thing about setting goals. It's not just about wishing for stuff. It's about creating a roadmap to get there.
Right.
He wants teens to have those clear, realistic goals.
Okay.
And here's where it gets really interesting. He uses his own experience of escaping abuse to show how setting goals literally saved his life.
Wow. That's powerful.
It is.
It's not just some motivational speaker saying dream big.
Right?
It's someone who used goals to get out of a real nightmare.
Exactly. And he gives really specific advice.
Okay.
Break down big goals into smaller steps. Celebrate each win.
Right.
And remember that feeling of accomplishment to fuel you forward.
Right.
Think about it. Even small achievements release those feel-good chemicals in our brains.
Yeah.
Imagine a teen using that to build momentum toward their dream career, or even just surviving a tough week at school.
Yeah. Okay, we've got goals.
Yeah.
We're building resilience. But what about the people we surround ourselves with?
Yeah.
Relationships have got to play a huge part in all this.
Right.
Huge.
And Pelzer doesn't just talk about friends.
It's family mentors. Anyone who can genuinely support you.
Right.
He's big on ditching relationships that bring negativity and pressure,
Okay.
which can be tough for teens who crave acceptance.
Oh, especially in this age of social media, where it feels like everyone's measuring their worth by likes and followers.
It's harder than ever, which is why Peltzer's message is so timely. He shows teens that it's okay to be selective about who they let into their inner circle,
Yeah.
and that true friends are the ones who celebrate your wins, and help you up when you stumble.
So it's not about popularity. It's about finding your true squad.
Exactly.
The people who get you.
People who get you. And having those people makes all the difference. Because Pelzer's final message is about something we all need, especially as teenagers, finding strength from within.
Okay. But how do you teach that? It sounds kind of mystical.
It's not about magic. It's about self-awareness.
Okay.
Pelzer helps teens identify their strengths and talents,
Yeah.
which become their tools for building a life they love. It's about that aha moment.
When you realize, hey, I'm actually good at this.
Yeah.
And then use that to overcome challenges.
I'm starting to see why this book resonates so much with teens.
Yeah.
It's practical, it's real, and it comes from someone who's walked the walk.
And that's just the beginning. We've barely scratched the surface of the strategies and exercises he offers. In part 2, we'll dive into those tools and really unpack how teens can apply them to their everyday lives.
Welcome back. Last time, we got a taste of the power packed into Dave Pelzer's Help Yourself for Teens.
The good one.
But now it's time to roll up our sleeves and see how we can actually use this stuff.
That's where this book shines.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just inspiration. It's like a toolkit for navigating adolescence.
Okay, so let's crack it open. We talked about taking responsibility.
Yeah.
And Pelzer dives deep into this with something he calls the blame game. What's that all about?
It's something we all do.
Yeah.
But for teens, it can be a major roadblock.
Okay.
Think about it. Your
Yeah.
brain's still developing. Emotions are intense.
Right.
It's easy to feel like the world's happening to you.
And social media doesn't exactly help, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's curating their perfect lives.
Oh, totally.
It makes it easy to feel inadequate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Pelzer's got a powerful antidote.
Okay.
Asking yourself, what can I control in this situation?
Okay.
It might sound simple,
Yeah.
but this shift in focus can be revolutionary for a teen who feels powerless.
So instead of my parents are ruining my life,
right.
it becomes, okay, I can't control their decisions, but I can control how I communicate my needs to them.
Exactly. And Pelzer goes even deeper. He provides this visual tool called the circle of control.
Okay.
Imagine actually drawing a circle and putting all the things you can control inside.
Yeah.
Your effort, your attitude, your choices, and everything else outside.
That makes it so clear. It's like a mental decluttering exercise, helping you see where to direct your energy.
And speaking of energy, let's talk about setting goals.
Yeah.
Pelzer calls it building your blueprint. And this is where his experience really shines through.
Yeah, he's not just some guru preaching from a mountaintop.
Right.
He's someone who set goals to survive his own abuse.
Exactly.
That's got to hit different for teens.
It does. And he doesn't just say set smart goals like every other self-help book out there.
Right.
He breaks it down in a way that speaks directly to teens' lives. Think about a teen who dreams of being a musician, but feels overwhelmed. Pelzer would say, okay, instead of rock star by next year, how about learning one new song this week?
Suddenly it feels doable.
Right.
And those small wins release dopamine, creating this positive feedback loop.
Right. And Pelzer emphasizes celebrating those wins.
Yes.
Imagine a teen who's struggling socially,
Okay.
and their goal is to make one new friend. That first conversation, that shared laugh,
Yeah.
becomes a victory to build on. It's not about the end goal. It's about those tiny steps to make it feel real.
It's almost like gamifying personal growth.
Yeah.
Which totally speaks to how teens' brains work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, remember that big monster we talked about?
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. Pelzer calls this outsmarting the pack.
Oh, okay.
And it's where street cred really comes in handy.
He's been there.
He's been there.
Felt that pressure to conform.
Yes.
So his advice isn't theoretical.
Right.
It's battle-tested.
It's battle-tested.
Yeah.
And he starts by helping teens see that peer pressure isn't always bad.
Oh, okay.
You know, your friends pushing you to join the basketball team. That's positive pressure. It's the negative stuff that needs a strategy.
So how do you equip teens to say no when everyone's doing something they don't want to do?
Pelzer's got a few tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah.
One is practicing saying no assertively.
Okay.
He even gives scripts teens can use.
Oh, wow.
Like, I'm cool, but that's not really my thing.
Yeah.
It's about taking the awkwardness out of it.
It's like giving them a verbal shield they can pull out
Yes.
when they feel pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another thing, having a backup plan. If you know you're going to a party where there might be stuff you don't want to do,
Yeah.
have an excuse ready to leave early, or even better, suggest an alternative activity altogether.
It's about being proactive,
Yes.
not just reactive.
Right. And here's where it gets interesting. Pelzer actually encourages teens to walk away from friends who constantly push them to do things that go against their values.
That's tough. Especially when fitting in feels so important.
It is.
How does he justify that?
He emphasizes that true friends respect your boundaries and support your choices.
Okay.
He says you deserve to be around people who lift you up, not drag you down.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
It's about recognizing your worth and not settling for less.
And speaking of people who lift you up, let's talk mentors. Pelzer calls this section Finding Your Guides,
Okay.
which feels very wise sage on a mountaintop,
Right.
but he makes it practical.
Okay. So how do you actually find a mentor? Is it like ordering one online?
Not quite. Pelzer encourages teens to look around them. Teachers, coaches, family members, even someone they admire online.
Right.
The key is to be proactive.
So it's not waiting for someone to magically appear.
Yeah,
It's about identifying someone you respect
Yes.
and reaching out.
exactly. And he gives tips on how to do that without feeling awkward.
Okay.
Start by expressing admiration for their work.
Right.
Then simply ask if they'd be willing to share some advice.
Yeah.
Most people are flattered to be asked,
It's like, hey, I think you're awesome. Can I pick your brain?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even if they can't commit to full-on mentorship,
Yeah.
you've started a valuable connection.
So we've got mentors guiding us. But what about those everyday relationships with friends?
Yeah.
Pelzer talks about building healthy connections,
Yeah,
which is huge for this age group.
it is. And he draws on his own experiences, both good and bad. He talks about how crucial it was for him to find friends who believed in him,
Yeah.
who saw his potential even when he didn't.
So it's not just about hanging out and having fun. It's about finding people who actually help you become a better version of yourself.
Exactly. And he contrasts that with the negative influences he had to break away from to move forward.
Right.
This part can be really eye-opening for teens
Yeah.
because it helps them identify what healthy relationships actually look like.
So what are the hallmarks of a healthy friendship, according to Pelzer?
He's got a list, and it's gold.
Okay.
Friends who respect your boundaries, support your goals, are honest with you, even when it's hard, and make you feel good about yourself.
Right.
It's about recognizing those people who add value to your life.
It sounds so simple,
It does this.
but it's not always obvious, especially when you're trying to figure out who you are and where you fit in.
That's why Pelzer's advice is so valuable. He helps teens develop that discernment, that ability to choose relationships that nurture their growth.
It's like he's giving them a relational GPS
Yes.
to navigate those tricky social waters.
And speaking of navigation, Pelzer talks about communication as a key to healthy relationships. He encourages teens to express their needs and feelings clearly and respectfully.
So it's not just about finding the right people.
Yeah,
It's about building the skills to connect with them authentically.
right. And he emphasizes listening to the other person's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't agree with it.
It's about building empathy and understanding.
Yes.
Which is so crucial in a world that feels increasingly divided.
And remember that resilience muscle we talked about?
Oh, yeah.
Pelzer gives it a whole chapter,
Okay.
aptly, titled The Power Within.
Okay. But how do you train that muscle? It's not like hitting the gym,
Right.
right?
It's more like mental training.
Yeah.
And Pelzer's got some powerful techniques.
Okay.
One of my favorites is what he calls flipping the script.
Okay.
Imagine a teen who bombs a test and feels like a failure.
Yeah.
Pelzer would say, okay, what can you learn from this? How can you do better next time?
It's about shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset.
Exactly. And he talks about finding things that bring joy, things that recharge your batteries. It could be music art, spending time in nature, whatever lights you up.
It's like creating a joy toolbox you can pull from when times get tough.
And here's a big one. Pelzer reminds teens that it's okay to ask for help.
Okay.
There's strength in recognizing your limits
Mm-hmm.
and reaching out to a trusted adult, a therapist, or a friend.
It's like, hey, even superheroes need backup sometimes.
Love that.
Okay.
So resilience is about reframing negative thoughts, finding sources of joy, and knowing when to call in the reinforcements.
Powerful stuff. And before we wrap up part 2, there's one more concept I want to explore, self-discovery.
Okay.
Pelzer calls it finding your true north, which sounds super profound.
It is. It's about helping teens figure out who they are beyond the labels and expectations of others.
Okay.
It's about uncovering their values, their passions, their unique spark.
But how do you guide teens through that? It feels so internal,
Yeah.
so personal.
Peltzer's got some cool exercises for that.
Oh.
One is the values auction,
Okay.
where you imagine bidding on different values,
Nice.
honesty, kindness, creativity, success. It helps you prioritize what truly matters to you.
It's like a fun way to discover what makes you tick.
And he's big on trying new things, stepping outside your comfort zone.
Right.
Imagine a team who's always been labeled shy, but secretly loves to sing.
Yeah.
Encouraging them to try out for the school play.
Right.
That's a step towards self-discovery.
It's about giving yourself permission to explore.
Yes.
To surprise yourself, to evolve.
Exactly. And Pelzer emphasizes that self-discovery isn't a one-time event.
Okay.
It's an ongoing journey.
So we've explored taking responsibility, setting goals, dealing with peer pressure, finding mentors, building healthy relationships, building resilience, and embarking on the journey of self-discovery.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, and we've only just scratched the surface. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore the heart of Pelzer's message, the power of hope, and the belief in one's own potential. All right. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Help Yourself for Teens.
The grand finale.
We've covered some pretty heavy stuff, you know?
Yeah. Taking charge, building resilience, navigating relationships.
Right.
But now, it's time to talk about something that might seem a bit fluffy.
Fluffy. You mean hope.
Well,
Yeah.
hope. It's a word that gets thrown around a lot.
Right.
But in the context of Pelzer's book,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just some vague, feel-good concept.
No, it's definitely not fluffy.
Okay.
In this book, it's a core principle.
Oh.
And what makes it so powerful
Yeah.
is that Pelzer doesn't just tell teens to be hopeful.
Right.
He shows them how to actually cultivate it,
Mm-hmm.
even when they're facing some serious darkness.
And I think that's where his own story
Yeah,
becomes so crucial.
absolutely.
He's not preaching from some ivory tower.
Right.
He's someone who's stared down despair and
Mhm.
come out the other side.
Exactly. He's living proof that hope can be a lifeline,
Yeah.
even when it feels like the world's caving in.
Okay. But how do you actually teach hope? It's not like a math equation.
Right.
You can't just plug in numbers
Okay.
and get a hopeful result. Well, Pelzer breaks it down into a few key components.
Okay.
And one of the most fascinating is the power of perspective.
Hmm.
He encourages teens to look for the good, even in the midst of tough times.
It's that silver lining idea.
Yeah.
But Pelzer takes it a step further. He talks about actively searching for those glimmers of hope,
Right.
those tiny moments of beauty or kindness that
Yeah.
can make all the difference.
It could be a simple act of kindness from a stranger,
Okay.
a breathtaking sunset,
Yeah.
a shared laugh with a friend,
Mm-hmm.
or even just that feeling of the sun warming your skin.
Right.
It's about training your brain to see the good,
Okay.
even when it's surrounded by bad.
But isn't that kind of denying reality?
Well,
Like if a teen is dealing with bullying or family problems, telling
Mhm.
them to just look for the good
Yeah.
might feel dismissive.
that's a valid concern. And Pelzer addresses it head on.
Okay.
He's not saying ignore the bad stuff
Okay.
or pretend it doesn't exist. It's about recognizing that even in the darkest moments,
Yeah.
there are still things to be grateful for.
Okay.
Things that can spark a sense of hope.
So it's not about toxic positivity.
No.
It's about finding those little anchors
Yeah.
that can keep you afloat when you feel like you're drowning.
Exactly. And another component of hope that Pelzer emphasizes
Okay.
is having something to believe in, something that gives your life meaning and purpose.
Now, for some teens, that might be a religious faith or a spiritual belief,
Right.
but it doesn't have to be.
Right.
Absolutely. It could be the social cause they're passionate about,
Okay.
a dream they're chasing, a
Right.
talent they're developing.
Right.
It's about having something that drives them forward,
Yeah.
something that makes them feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves.
And that sense of purpose can
Yeah.
be so crucial,
It is.
especially during those teenage years
Yeah.
when you're trying to figure out who you are and what you stand for. Think about a teen who's passionate about environmentalism.
Okay.
Even small acts like recycling or volunteering at a cleanup
Mm-hmm.
can fuel their sense of purpose,
Yeah.
giving them a reason to get out of bed on those tough mornings.
It's like having a compass that points you in the right direction,
Yes.
even when you feel lost or unsure of the path ahead.
And finally, Pelzer talks about the importance of taking action.
Okay.
Hope isn't just a feeling. It's an active force that propels us forward.
So it's not enough to just sit around wishing for things to get better.
Right.
You have to actually do something to make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he encourages teens to take small steps,
Okay.
even if they seem insignificant.
Took what?
It could be reaching out to a friend who's struggling,
Okay.
setting a goal for the week,
Mm-hmm.
learning a new skill,
Right.
volunteering in their community,
Yeah.
or even just doing something kind for a stranger.
Any action, no matter how small,
Right.
can be a spark of hope.
Exactly.
A reminder that you have agency, that you can make a difference, that you can create a better future for yourself and for others.
Oh, I love
It's
that.
about shifting from, I wish things were different,
Right.
to, I'm going to do something to make them different.
And Pelzer sums it up beautifully
Okay.
when he tells teens, you are the author of your own life story. You have the power to write a story filled with hope, resilience, and triumph.
Whoa, that's powerful stuff. It's like taking all the tools we've explored in this deep dive
Yeah.
and using them to create a masterpiece.
And that's what makes Help Yourself for teens so much more than just another self-help book. It's a blueprint for building a life worth living, a life filled with purpose, passion, and a deep sense of hope.
So we've unpacked the key themes, explored practical strategies, and delved into the deeper meaning of hope. But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your personal reflections.
Sure.
What are some of the things that really resonated with you from this book?
For me, it's the emphasis on personal agency.
Yeah.
Pelzer never lets teens off the hook. He always reminds them that they have choices,
Yeah.
that they have power,
Yeah.
that they can shape their own lives.
And he does it in a way that's both challenging and encouraging.
Right.
He's not afraid to push teens to step up and take responsibility.
Yeah.
But he also offers unwavering support and guidance along the way.
It's like he's saying, look, I know life can be tough, but you've got this, you have the strength within you to overcome challenges and create a life you love.
And what about you? What are some of the nuggets of wisdom you'll be carrying with you from this deep dive?
Well, I'm definitely going to be incorporating that circle of control exercise into my own life.
Yeah.
It's such a simple but effective way to focus my energy on the things I can actually change.
That's a great one. And I think I'm going to try that flipping the script technique.
Yeah.
I love the idea of reframing negative experiences as opportunities for growth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like turning lemons into lemonade, but for your mind.
And I think we can all benefit from Pelzer's reminder to cultivate hope in our daily lives.
Yeah.
To look for the good, to believe in something bigger than ourselves, and to take action to make the world a better place.
Beautifully said. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Help Yourself for Teens.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope you've enjoyed this journey and that you've gleaned some valuable insights along the way. Remember, no matter what challenges you're facing, you have the power within you to overcome them and create a life filled with purpose, passion, and hope. Keep those minds curious and those hearts open to the possibilities that lie ahead.